How's it going, people? Sam and Slappy here, and yeah, it has been quite a while since we've had a Final Fantasy 14 vid up, but the main reason for that is RuneScape, which I'm covering on the other channel, has had a massive update recently. So for the past couple of weeks, I've pretty much just been doing a hell of a lot of vids for that instead. But yeah, finally we're back, and as I said last time, if I remember rightly, we are covering some quests and some actual fighting. I've cut out a lot of the quests I've picked up in the city, but the idea is you just wander around the city at around level 20, which I think I'm on vid now, and you can pick up a hell of a lot of quests in the city. So after picking them all up, and eventually coming down here on my Gladiator at level 20, and I'm in the Gladiators Guild, you can do this on every other class once you're at the right level. I'm not sure what the level is, to be honest. I think it's around 18. But you can do a class specific quest. And on screen now is me picking up the Gladiator's first class specific quest. You know, you've got to be level 20 to pick this up. So there you have it. But yeah, for the sake of saving time and just a lot of me wandering around the city, just randomly talking to NPCs, I decided I'd cut out me picking up all the quests, although for some of you they may actually be worse than what it is now, as you might want to find out where the actual locations for the quest NPCs are. But for the vast majority, they're almost all in guilds. You've got the odd couple outside of guilds, but you will run into them naturally as you're walking around the city. Just do one full lap and you'll have everything. At the end of it, you should eventually have about 10 quests, give or take. And as you can see by that one there, almost every single one of them gives you armor rewards and straight up cash and XP rewards. So they are worth doing as they add to your armory, and it can actually give you a nice boost in cash. But yeah, for now, let's carry on with the Gladiator quest and have at it. So, for the Gladiator quest, we have to go into the arena and defeat this little Alan Megan bloke, which shouldn't be too difficult. So on screen, this is actually Gladiator I'm playing as, for those of you who aren't playing Final Fantasy 14 or haven't played it yet. And this is pretty much the tank class of Final Fantasy 14, or the main tank class I should say. And yeah, as you can see, it uses sword and shield. Got quite a lot of defensive buffs, and you can counter attack and shield bash to stun your enemy, among many others. And eventually, once I get this to 30, and if I level Conjure up to at least 15, I think it is, I'll be able to do the Paladin Unlock quest, which basically gives me a bunch of extra skills and kind of like a more specific role within party play. And I change from Gladiator to Paladin. Well, I'll shut up for the cutscenes. So there we have it. That's the first one complete for your class specific quests. I think there's 3 for every single class once you've got them to certain levels, and you actually get an achievement for it as well. Plus you do get nice rewards. As you can see, I just got an iron short sword, which about 5 minutes before recording this I just bought in the market ward, so yeah, that'll teach me. But yeah, now let's move on to actual combat, shall we? So as you can see, I picked up all these quests, and yeah, you're basically told to come all the way out here and investigate the area. Upon which you find a few random human enemies, and they'll start attacking you. All you have to do is simply stab them in the face a couple of times till they drop. And then these two will pop up, and they'll tell you they are engineers from Garlean. But yeah, so that's that in a nutshell. I did kind of forget to record the actual fight as they kind of just popped up and I wouldn't really pay much attention. My bad. Yeah, on to the next one. So once you're over here, over towards, I think it's Camp Horizon in the Uldar region, when you hit this point you get that, and all of a sudden 3 level 20 mobs will spawn in front of you, which kind of surprised me, as they're the same level as me. So yeah, combat on here is fairly simple. You've got your HP, obviously your life, MP, you use it to cast all your spells, same as mana in pretty much every single other game. And then next to it you've got TP. Now TP, or technical points, is earned every single time you are damaged, use an action, or hit the enemy. And depending on your weapon and the delay of your weapon, you get more TP per. But yeah, once you build your TP up, you can then use specific skills. So you can see just then, the thing I killed that Goblin with was actually Shield Bash. And that requires 250 TP and has a chance of stunning the enemy on top of doing a decent amount of damage. And then, same as pretty much every single other class, you then have weapon skills, like this. Which, kind of neatly, you do unlock more weapon skills and you can chain them into each other. What I mean by that is, let's say for example your very first weapon skill, it costs you 1000 TP to use. Once you've leveled up a bit, you'll eventually learn a second and then a third weapon skill, and one of those 2 weapon skills, it'll say on the description that it combos with X being your first actual weapon skill move, and gains additional abilities like increased critical hit rate, or something along those lines. So basically, as you can see down the bottom, as I use that weapon skill, one is now covered in like pink highlight. It's just disappeared now. That shows I can use those 2 weapon skills in combination with each other, and it'll only cost me as much TP as it costs to use the first original weapon skill. So yeah, pretty good, right? And you can make multiple combos with those later on as you gain more and more weapon skills. And as you'd expect, every class has different weapon skills and they all have different effects added onto them. So for example, me on Gladiator, one of them gives me increased enmity, which is rage, or whatever, however you want to say it, hate, aggro, either way. It increases the amount the enemy will pay more attention to me. And then you got other ones which is just straight up damage, so it could quite literally be just extra damage, or critical hit, or additional effect, debilitating effects, and on and on and on. So, yeah, that's kind of the very basics of combat. So additionally, if you are a thaumaturg or a mage, however, the easiest way to play it is like an offensive mage or the white mage equivalent, which is conjuring thaumaturg. You have certain elemental skills, or magic, either way, and each kind of enemy has a different weakness. So you could find that something like this Nutgrabber Marvat has got massive defense against stone, but then gets absolutely obliterated by thunder. Although that's not accurate, just so you know, but yeah, just an example. Whereas the next mob you come across, let's say a sheep, is incredibly weak to stone, but takes absolutely no damage from thunder, which is just an example, it's not actually true. But yeah, you get the idea. So yeah, some of you may be wondering, because I haven't really covered it yet, is what these jobs are actually about and how you actually end up getting them. So, easiest way to put it is the jobs kind of limit your class somewhat, but instead give you increased stats and additional abilities, similar to that of Final Fantasy XI. So for example, on Final Fantasy XI, the White Mage had a 2-hour special ability called Benediction. Well, if you actually go White Mage on this, that is, equip the job class White Mage, you will then gain the skill Benediction whenever it gets unlocked. Which otherwise, if you was just on Conjure, you would never unlock. So yeah, that is one benefit, you gain additional skills. Another benefit is, I'm assuming, increased stats. I haven't actually checked it personally, but naturally you'd assume if you've got limited offense or defensive powers, however you want to put it, then the stats, or the very base stats at least, as it does mention it when you switch classes, increase and decrease in some respect. So for example, if I was to switch from Gladiator to Paladin, I may find that I've got a lot more Vit while I'm Paladin compared to that while I'm Gladiator, whereas Gladiator might have a bit extra strength, for example. I don't know if that's true, but as an example. But yeah, that's pretty much basics of the jobs. They kind of make partying a lot easier, as without using the actual job classes, everyone can be like a jack of all trades but master of none. So you could find that every single person has Stone Skin, Protect and Cure and Second Wind, but no one has any offensive magic or anything like that, or something really random, like missing very easy to use skills. Whereas with the job classes, it kind of puts it back into a Final Fantasy 11-ish way of partying, where everyone's got a specific class and role to play in the party, so it's very easy to work out. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, I've got to be honest. To unlock them, it's different for each class, but as I said earlier, your main class needs to be level 30, and then there will be a subclass that needs to be level 15 to unlock whatever job you're trying to unlock. So, for example, Paladin is 30 Gladiator and 15 Conjurer, and then you can go and unlock Paladin. Or at least try to by doing the quest, either way. But yeah, little things like that. There's 6 overall, I think. You have Black Mage, White Mage, Bard, Warrior, Paladin, and Dragoon at the moment. And to unlock, let's go with, I don't know, Pugilist, Monk even, I forgot to mention that. So to unlock Monk, you need a main class of 30 Pugilist and 15 Lancer as a secondary to unlock it. Marauder would be 30 Marauder, 15 Gladiator. Dragoon is 30 Lancer, 15 Pugilist. Bard is 30 Archer and 15 Conjurer. White Mage is 30 Conjurer, 15 Gladiator. And finally Black Mage is 30 Thaumaturg, 15 Pugilist. Now, you heard me earlier, I was just saying about how it limits your class. Well, right now, on my Gladiator for example, I can take skills from every single other class and equip them as long as I've unlocked them on those other classes. Now when you switch to the actual main job classes, you gain the increased stats on whatever else and the additional job specific skills, but instead you lose out on some of the subclasses you can choose from. So for example, right now I might have Stone Skin and Second Wind from Pugilist and Conjurer. Well, once you've turned into a Paladin, the only subclasses you can choose to get skills from is Marauder and Conjurer. So I could still keep my Stone Skin, but I could no longer use Second Wind. So instead I'd have to choose an item from either the Conjurer line or the Marauder line of skills. And this goes across the board, so Monk is Lancer and Archer subclasses, Warrior, Gladiator, Pugilist, Dragoon, Pugilist and Archer, Bard is Conjurer and Thaumaturg, White Mage is Gladiator and Pugilist, and finally Black Mage is Pugilist and Archer. Now some of those you're probably thinking, hang on, what the hell, why has Black Mage got like 2 melee combat classes as subclasses? And the thing is, they've actually got skills that the Black Mage can use and are kind of handy. And it's kind of surprising how useful they actually are. Some of them you don't tend to use. Well, as you've got better choices elsewhere, but once you're limited, you kind of notice actually these aren't that bad to use. But yeah, that is all your jobs and classes covered, I do believe. I can't remember if I've ever mentioned this before, but to actually switch classes, all you need to do is swap your weapon. And I don't mean anything cryptic by that, I mean quite literally go to the shop in whatever Adventurers Guild you started in, once you've made a slight bit of money, and literally buy another level 1 weapon and equip it, and you'll instantly switch class. Whether that's for crafting, gathering, or combat, either way. Yeah, simple as that. Easy, no? So yeah, I may... Actually, I don't think I've ever mentioned it, but these videos right here was recorded a fair amount of time ago now, as I recorded a massive amount of videos all in one humongous batch. And yeah, it pretty much just filled up my entire hard drive, so I haven't really been able to record much, but I have still been playing the game. So yeah, there's a bit of difference now from what you can see on screen, my levels and stuff, compared to where I am now. And for those of you who are curious, I thought I'd tell you. So my Gladiator, which you can see on screen now, I've actually managed to get that up to, I think it's 32. And yeah, I have actually managed to unlock the Paladin quest for that. And I do have the video for that recorded somewhere. I don't know, we'll see about getting that up soon. That's 5-10 minutes, something like that. So I'll probably put that up as a separate little thing so people can use it as a little guide or something to follow, either way. Okay, next up, once I leveled up high enough to unlock the Paladin, and I finally unlocked the Paladin, I then realised that there's plenty of skills I do actually need from subclasses. So for example, Paladin's ones was Marauder and Conjurer, and I only got Conjurer up to 15 simply to unlock Paladin, and I didn't even touch Marauder. So upon realising that, I've now got like 3 skills I can equip and absolutely no skills I actually want or need to equip other than Cure and Protect. So I decided I would then level up Conjurer, and kind of might have got slightly carried away maybe, and that's now up to 31 I think. So yeah, that's nearly the same level as my Paladin now, or Gladiator. And then I finally started leveling up my Marauder now, and I think I've got that up to about 24 now. Yeah, in between all that, I've also leveled up most of the other jobs. My Archer is up to 28 or 29. The only thing I haven't really touched is Pugilist and Lancer, as they're both around 15, but that's just for me to unlock different classes more than anything else, to be honest. Yeah, I have tried my hand at gathering, I gotta be honest. It's a bit of a nightmare, but then once I found a specific website which is called Mooglebox, I don't know if any of you actually used that if you're playing the game and watching this, but Mooglebox is an awesome website. Actually cannot say enough about it. You can go on there and it'll give you all the recipes for everything you possibly need. It'll give you specific weapons, like an actual table telling you every single weapon you can equip for your class. And it'll even tell you if you can buy it from an NPC or whether or not it's player made and notorious monster drop, etc, etc. So in a way it's kind of like Alakazam for Final Fantasy 11 or the Wikipedia for FF11. And yeah, it is actually really useful, and I would highly recommend using it. As when it comes to gathering stuff, having Mooglebox there is incredibly useful, as it tells you where you can get certain items from certain areas. So for example, if you was looking for iron ore, you could find out every single camp or the general region where you can find points to get iron ore. And then more specific things like fluorite or zinc ore, for example, it'll tell you where you can find them, because I needed that for goldsmithing. Little did I know you can only be found over towards the Gridania region at my level. So yeah, it took me a while, but I eventually found that out. It's fairly easy to do. I've noticed that depending on what kind of extra abilities your armor have, can actually help you an incredible amount when it actually comes to gathering and crafting. And there's quite a bit of debate from what I've seen on the forums of what crafting wise is more useful, magic craftsmanship or just craftsmanship. And the general thing I took from that big ass forum thread was quite literally they're both useful. Certain synths use magic craftsmanship and other synths use normal craftsmanship, but there's no real way, or at least no one's found any real way to decide or truly define the difference between which one is more important for what synths. So yeah, in general, try to keep them both high. Additionally, control, as you'll notice as like an additional attribute on some gear, that is also very useful for crafting, as control actually kind of helps against elemental instability while you're crafting, because that will actually screw you over quite a lot if you're not careful. So yeah, I'd highly recommend getting control, craftsmanship and magic craftsmanship. Gathering wise, you've actually got the gathering skill itself, which is always going to be useful, let's be honest. And then there's another one called output, which apparently gives you more chances at gathering. So for example, once you start gathering, you'll find, depending on what the item is, you may only get 2 chances to actually mine it, or you may get 5 chances to actually mine it. So the higher your output and gathering combined kind of work together to give you more chances. So for example, if that 2 chance item, you come across it again, but this time you've got, let's say, plus 50 gathering, you'll start off with, let's say, 3 or 4 chances at actually mining it. So yeah, a lot more useful. Additionally, with higher gathering, you get more base attempts at whatever point you're at. So for example, if I'm randomly wandering around and I see a mining point and I go to mine it, let's say typically you get 5 attempts. If you add an extra 50 gathering, for example, you may find that instead of 5 attempts you've got 9 or 10 or something ridiculous along those lines. So in that sense, I'd highly recommend having separate gear sets. So you'll have your crafting set, your gathering set, and then your combat set. And then obviously you'd have different sets for different classes, and yeah, it kind of goes on and on. But for those of you who are wondering what the hell am I meant to do with inventory space, which is what I was doing for about a week until I realised this, like an idiot I am, I realised that once you've hired retainers, you can actually use those retainers to store 200 items each, and they act as kind of your makeshift bank, and you can put 200 items in either one of them, and together you can get 2 at most, as far as I'm aware. So that's 400 bank spaces you have, which, to be fair, is quite a huge amount. If you say each set of armor for class is, say, 20 items, give or take, then yeah, that's every single class sorted, and then random little bits and pieces you want to put in there. You should have plenty of room. On top of that, you can use them to sell junk that you don't actually want or need anymore. And yeah, it's all around, you should have plenty of space to actually do it and keep different sets for different classes. So where was I before I ran off on a tangent? Alright, what the hell I've been up to. So, what else was there done? All my classes are a minimum of 15 now, and 3 of them are at 30, and Marauder's going to be up there soon as well. I'll probably get out to 34 to unlock Rampage for my Paladin, which is a nice skill, increases attack speed and damage or crit rate, one or the other. As you can see on screen now, I actually melded in materia, and these, on some games you'd call them gems, and then they'd be socketed into weapons or armor. It's kind of the same deal on here, where depending on what you turn into a materia, depends on what effect it has and how powerful the effect, and then you can put it into whatever gear you want. So yeah, worth doing. I haven't really touched it much, as to actually get the 3 components needed to make materia, meld materia together, and then equip it into armor, you need, I think it's 18 combat class, a level 18 gathering class, and a level 18 crafting class, which I'm still 1 level off gathering wise. Yeah. So I've tried out a bit of gathering, that's mining, botany and fishing. I've tried out all of them. Additionally, all the secondary ones, so quarrying, which you do while mining, and harvesting, which you do while botany, and then spearfishing while you fish. I've tried them out, they're all pretty good, and you can get some really useful items from there, and I'd highly recommend leveling them, especially if you're going to do any crafting at all, as you'll find a lot of the synths actually use items from there. But yeah, crafting wise, I've managed to get every single craft up to, I think it was 17 or 18, give or take. Yeah, that took quite a while, but in the process I did make quite a bit of money. And for those of you, if anyone's interested, I can actually make a little small guide, so like, let's say a weaving guide 1 to 20 for example, which is really cheap and easy to do, as I just made profit on mine and I bought some of the items. So I can't really complain. It doesn't take too long, a couple of hours, as long as you got all the stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's almost everything I've done up to date. Yeah. So yeah, if any of you are actually interested, feel free to leave a comment and tell me what you're interested in seeing, and I'll see what I can do for you. I may end up doing a few crafting guides, for example, as they're always handy, and it did take me quite a while to do all this research myself, as I've been using it for myself, and it seems to be pretty good. I never actually found any good, decent guides out there for crafting. So yeah, if anyone is interested, I can chuck them up for you, not a problem. But yeah, other than that, that's about it. So yeah, this quest here you're seeing on screen now, I'm not actually sure what this is all about, but you start to see a bit of insight into the Ul'dah area. I'm assuming it's probably the second Gladiator quest maybe, or a carry on from the Gladiator quest, I'm not sure. Yeah, as you can see, Gladiator is actually pretty formidable. I mean, 3 monsters all at once, granted they may be slightly lower levels, but still 3. And then this fella straight after it. surviving it all with almost max life and MP. Give it a stew as it can take a beating. So here we go then, let's talk to this fella. So there we go. Pretty epic cutscene, no? So yeah, all that's left now is to handle these in. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. All that's left now is to hand these in, and I'll have to see you all later. So I'll fast forward these little bits here, just so you can see all the actual rewards and me wandering around the city. But yeah, until next time, I will catch you all later.